Imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield, smoke rising, drums pounding, the sound of horses echoing through the chaos. In the distance, a man stands tall, his hand tucked into his jacket, his gaze fixed on the horizon. That man is Napoleon Bonaparte, the soldier who became a general, the general who became an emperor, and the emperor who would one day die in exile. But how did a young Corsican outsider rise to rule most of Europe? And what made him both a hero and a villain in the eyes of history? For the next 10 minutes, we'll journey through the rise, the fall, and the legacy of one of the most powerful men the world has ever known. To experience this in the best way possible, watch on YouTube TV. Napoleon wasn't born into power, he seized it. Born on the island of Corsica in 1769, he grew up under foreign rule, dreaming of greatness. From the moment he joined the French army, his ambition burned brighter than anyone around him. He devoured books on strategy, mathematics, and history, believing that knowledge was his weapon. When the French Revolution erupted, Napoleon saw not chaos, but opportunity. In a time when kings were losing their heads, he built his way up through talent, intelligence, and ruthless determination. By his mid-20s, he wasn't just another soldier, he was France's most brilliant general. Every victory he claimed from Italy to Egypt wasn't just a battle won. It was a message to Europe. A new kind of ruler had arrived. But Napoleon's genius wasn't only on the battlefield, he redefined how nations were governed. He introduced the Napoleonic Code, a set of laws that still influence countries across Europe and beyond. He built schools, reformed the economy, and centralized power in a way that made France stronger than ever before. Yet with every success, his hunger grew. His empire expanded, and so did his enemies. Britain, Prussia, Russia, one by one, they united against him. His march into Russia in 1812 would become the beginning of his downfall. The snow, the starvation, and the scorched earth tactics destroyed his army, and his legend began to crumble. When he was exiled to the island of Elba, many thought his story was over. But Napoleon was not a man who accepted defeat. In a moment of pure audacity, he escaped Elba, returned to France, and within weeks, reclaimed his throne. The people cheered, the world trembled. But fate had already written its ending. At Waterloo, his final gamble failed. Defeated and captured, he was exiled once more, this time to the remote island of St. Helena, where he would die 6 years later, far from the empire he built and the glory he craved. Yet, centuries later, his shadow still looms large. His strategies are taught in military academies, his laws shape modern governance. His name, whispered in both admiration and fear, became a symbol of human ambition at its most extreme. So, who was Napoleon Bonaparte really? A visionary who reshaped the modern world, or a tyrant blinded by power? Maybe he was both, and perhaps that's what makes him timeless. Because in every leader who dreams of control, in every nation that rises and falls, a piece of Napoleon's story lives on. For more untold stories in episode 2, are you ready to discover what history has tried to hide? This part is shrouded in mystery. Watch the episode until the end, and if it piques your curiosity, click the subscribe button. Write in the comments which story you'd like me to explore next, and share it with someone you love.